Ta-da!
Hi, Danny.
Yay! Hi, Sean. Hello to everybody that's joined us. Welcome. Oh, I'm loving this fancy new intro-y type thing. All this fancy stuff, this fancy new StreamYard, and all the comments are coming in. Hello to everybody that has joined us. Hello, everybody. Yay!
There's some people to joining us. Is there, Danny? I asked my dad to watch. There must be at least one person.
There is at least. I can promise you right now, I can see 56 people have joined us in the past minute and a half. So that's good, and that's climbing. Oh, we had 56 and 52. So it's gone. Okay, so goodbye to those.
Oh dear. I
think what it does
goes down, Danny.
Oh, we're only on 10 now, I'm afraid. It's gone. But it's what happens, I think it appears in people's timelines and also in the Facebook feed timelines, if you can appear and see. And I think it reads off of that. It notices people are seeing it. It's funny, different metrics as to how it perceives people watching. Oh, it's gone down to 48. Come back, everybody. Hello to everybody that is watching. And of course, this is always the case. I'll just do a quick flick. Look at these comments. Marcus Beach, Nemani van der Blieke. It's really hard to say hello to everybody. Let's see if there's anybody Emma Shaw says, "Are you taking my view count, Danny?" I am indeed. Right, so with me now, live on this extremely muggy Friday evening. Are you really muggy where you are, Sean?
It is really warm here, and it's not sunny, it's just overcast and 30 degrees.
Absolutely, and I've had to shut the door in the towers, and I think that's the biggest mistake. And I've just looked out the window and Dolly, my cat, is staring at me, wanting to come in. She's looking rather grumpy. Anyway, so hello. Well, as I was saying, with me now is Sean Price, athlete number 136496, co-event director of Southwick Country Parkrun in Trowbridge, Wiltshire, and of course, a Parkrun UK regional event ambassador. Hello, Sean. How are you doing?
Hi, Danny. Good. Glad to be with you.
Thank you very much for joining me. So, of course, there's a variety of reasons why I brought you on, and some of them being that you are very renowned in that sort of southwest England area, and I thought if you bring on the big guns, it brings an audience with them. Of course, our numbers have gone down the corner, I can see, but also being a Parkrun UK regional event ambassador, you've been involved with Parkrun for a very long time. And if I bring up your stats, if we have a look at this, there's some of the information: 157 parkruns, 43 different events, 342 volunteer accounts. Your parkrun birthday, 2011. So nearly 10 parkrun years old.
Yeah, next April.
That's some stats. So how are you doing? How are you feeling? And what are your opinions on the COVID-19 framework?
How long have we got that?
Exactly. Let's just dive right in.
The biggest issue I've got with the COVID-19 framework is that RDs have only got 2 minutes to put out their run brief. And mine only takes 1.5 minutes. What am I going to fill the other 30 seconds with?
Oh, right. So you've had the opposite thing to what I do. I think how can I actually keep it brief?
No. I'm a bit sarcastic, Danny. I'm doing what you do often. I go on far too long.
Yeah.
They'll finish the first lap before I finished my run briefing, I'm afraid. Yeah. So I've renowned it, Southwick, for doing a rather long run briefing. But you enjoy it. That's positive about parkrun, isn't there? But I've just been speaking to my co-event director, Jay, and she's saying that we could use social media more to get those messages out, maybe the milestone messages out. Use social media a bit more, and maybe even do like a little video thing of a virtual run brief over the social media. Release that at 9 o'clock on the day or something like that. I've not spoken to the social media gear about this yet, but it's a provisional plan. There's ways around these things, isn't there? There's ways around.
There are. Absolutely, communicating. That's the thing. Obviously, you have you have the audience in front of you. You have them captivated, and you can tell them things. Of course, there's different elements and different events. Some people might be able to hear you, might not. They might be late. But like you say, there's different comms channels that you can go across and try and express a message. And of course, if you want to say essential things amongst an engaged community, because some people are saying they're going to miss out on some of the announcements, then there are other ways that you can announce things that are important to your community.
I was a town crier for my town for 20 years as well. So I think I'd be lying if I didn't say I quite like the sound of my own voice. I quite like communicating. I quite like being sociable and all that business. So, yeah, it's going to be difficult down to 2 minutes, but we will do it. We'll have a timer. We'll have a run brief timer. That's a new role, mate.
Talking of sarcasm, I couldn't possibly see you as a town crier. There's no way I could envision you loud and a centre of attention. I just can't do it myself.
I'll send you a photo. That'll prove you wrong.
That's what I wish I should have done, actually. I should have got some photographs. Of course, if you want to go, and anyone wants to go and look at Southwick Country Parkrun's Facebook page, go and have a look at just the variety. You've been a Santa in a big puff-up Santa costume, all manner of different things, bright shirts. And may I point out as well, you love your colours. Is that?
Yeah, we enjoy dressing up. So this is an apricot room. I actually usually put something down the back of me. I've got a kind of a backdrop that I put down to get rid of all that mess that's behind me. But Mark Brocklehurst, he wants to see all this apricot, doesn't he? So
okay,
yeah, the whole room, my whole office is decorated in apricot.
Okay, because Mark Brocklehurst, as you mentioned there, he was with you in the regional event ambassadors meeting that you had last night with Tom Williams and a bunch of other people, and of course you were talking about it. So you were, I guess, forearmed about the announcement that was coming today. That, of course, was on
only by about 12 hours, but yeah, Tom gave a great explanation, and you know, it is a great framework to go back to, and I think it's showing a mature attitude in as much as we can go to stakeholders, we can go to landowners, and we can say, look at this document. We're kind of not just a kind of a small outfit having a run in a park. We're a proper professional organisation with a proper framework to go back, because what we obviously need to get all the landowners on board as well. So we want to be kind of talking to them and making sure that they're aware that we're serious about this, and we want to come back at a time that we can adapt to that framework. So we haven't got a date to come back. If anyone's thinking that we're going to give them the date today, we're not. Tom's not got a date or anything like that.
No.
So what we're trying to do is we've got a framework to work towards so that we can achieve that date at some stage, and hopefully the majority. You know what it's like, Danny. Hopefully the majority. Well, it will be the majority of park runners will want to come back on the date that Tom states ultimately, and there will be some people that say, well, we want to go back before then. There'll be some people that say, well, we don't want to go back until well after that date. And they're totally entitled to their opinion. And I don't judge people, just like we don't judge people at parkrun for anything, you know, whether they're run, walking or jogging or whatever. We just don't judge people. It's just not worth it. Yeah. You know, they have to come back when they feel safe to do so. And those people that want to go back sooner, they just have to be a little bit more patient. But I want to focus on the fact that if you think about the positive things that parkrun does, and you highlight this week in, week out with the stories that you come up with from people as well, is that the positiveness, we want that back, and we want to be able to deliver that again, and that will happen. That is going to happen, and we're passionate about delivering that. So we need to kind of go. It's a democratic society. We have to kind of listen to what the majority is saying. And Tom Williams, the COO of parkrun, he's done a great job and doing surveys on a regular basis about how parkrunners feel, their intent. He calls it their intent, and we won't go back until the vast majority of parkrunners intend to go back to parkrun or are happy to go back to parkrun. Yeah, you know, but there will be a few people on the internet saying, "Oh, there's too soon, or it's not soon enough."
Yeah, you're never going to win. That's the thing. There's always going to be. They're going to strike a balance, and most people agree. But of course, that's the thing. You're always going to get a few voices saying it's too late, it's too soon. But that's the thing. You can't please all the people all the time. I know parkrun's ethos is to try and be inclusive, and it tries to do the impossible. I've said this a few times. Is that when you aim to try and please all the people, that is what they want to do. They're trying to do the impossible, and that's going to be their forever task. That's the thing. They're never going to be able to keep everybody happy, but they're going to do the best job possible. So people have got any questions for us regarding that you want us to discuss in the comments, please do so. I'll be trying to keep tabs on the comments as to what your feelings are. So, of course, 3 Weekly Times, I listened to it earlier with Vassos and Tom's conversation, Tom explaining things as well as reiterating what was on the hub. And I've read it. I read the hub just about an hour before I came online. I've gone through it, and I've gone through it basically bit by bit and make sure I've ingested it, I guess, and digested it. And yeah, I think it's absolutely comprehensive. It's very professional looking. The hub is very professional looking. A couple of thoughts about certain things. Now, a majority of our audience are tourists. They are. They're EDs, RDs, and there's a big chunk of tourists. And you said just then that parkrun doesn't judge, and I agree with you. And I think that what is going to be most applicable to a lot of us as tourists is that with people who are in certain hubs of large parkruns. Now, you've got quite a few parkruns where you are, down where you are. Yeah. But where I am, I'm surrounded by Bushy, which is obviously notorious for being huge in the parkrun of things. I have non-such, which can hit 800 to 900, and I've got Kingston that can do 400 to 500. They're my 3 nearest ones. Yeah. Now, as you say, I would like to potentially go to somewhere else and tour, or smaller ones. And I think this is quite key about people respecting and understanding that nuance of that whilst it's suggested that you can go to these places, if people go elsewhere for whatever reason, for whatever reasons, that people don't get angry about that. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I think obviously what Tom's saying, what the framework's saying really is that, you know, not to encourage tourism too much, and that is a bit of a shame. But the fact is, you know, it is difficult. Where, you know, we were kind of banned at one stage from taking journeys, weren't we? Almost, unless we were going to work, and you know, some people will think it's unnecessary journeys. Again, it falls into this category whereby some people think it's a great idea, some people think it's too much. But ultimately, you know, it's not enforceable. If you're desperate to tour, then you're going to tour, aren't you? And you know, there may be some people that kind of criticize you for that touring. Maybe you know, you don't want to go on about it too much, but you know, maybe you know, I know what you're saying, because the parkrun tourism Facebook page is quite popular, and it creates a lot of conversations about that. But, you know, I think it's a difficult one, and I don't think it's going to have the answers. I hope that it's temporary, and also there is the point that it may be that by the time we come back, things have got a lot better. This framework isn't something that's like cast iron and set. This is open to feedback, and it will change. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It will change before parkrun comes back here in the UK, and maybe other places within the world as well. So I'm absolutely convinced it will change. But the fact is unnecessary journeys, if you can avoid them, especially very long ones, you know, plane journeys and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, they're best avoided, aren't they? They're best avoided at this moment in time. You know, if you've got 5 parkruns within a 3-mile radius of you, or 5-mile radius of you, you're probably free to go to most.
Well, absolutely.
Spreading the disease in, you know, you can't be spreading it from one area to the other. But you know,
that's the thing. I think it's very easy, and that's the thing. It's like, as long as people see this data and go, they don't start accusing people of doing that and their intentions. Because again, it's all about numbers. They say by the time parkrun comes back, and Tom touched upon this in 3 Weekly Times, he said that there are, was it 2 million people are now playing grassroots football now. That's 2 million people doing grassroots football, and which is, of course, parkrunners are 150,000 per week, and they are close contact, close quarters, and there's a big difference. So, of course, proportionately with tourists are a smidge. We know that data. We had that recently with Charlie Pierce saying that tourists are a tiny proportion. If they go to a small event, and if they take all the precautions, if they're wearing masks, if they're socially distancing, if they're being very aware of that, I'm not saying like flying all over the world and going up to places completely unnecessarily. But if they do journey to an event that's a bit further outside the scope, maybe a few miles away, as like myself, trying to avoid the big ones, where of course there is going to be a numerical, statistical probability of interacting with a lot more people. My concern is that because they are a bit more standout, the tourists, that people don't jump on them, don't pillory them, that they don't sort of scapegoat them, that they don't take out any anxiety or frustrations at them, because it's very easy to go after these people and accuse them of doing something which is wrong. But that's not their intention, but they will stand out. And I agree that there should be no unnecessary journeys, but I think people need to take it with a pinch of salt. In fact, is that there's going to be some people that do go on tour, but not to turn them into like devils. Don't vilify them.
Yeah, to be honest, there's one case that I'm thinking of that I know of that, and I know you know Lil Morris, but she goes on tour with Chris Perry and Chris's daughter Emma, who's I forget the name of the thing, but she's done 8 different parkruns. Her first 8 parkruns are all different, so she's trying to get to 50. What's that called, Danny? I can't remember.
That's the 50 most events in 50 different club thingy. I can't remember. It's named after somebody. I can't remember. That's right.
So she's trying to do that, and I feel like I feel kind of really, really bad for her. So she's being encouraged not to do it, and then she might not want to do. She's only 8 years old, so I mean she's an Uber tourist. She's only done 8 partners, but as far as I'm concerned, she's an Uber tourist. That's absolutely, you know, going to 8 different ones on your first 8 parkruns. I think she might have even done more than that. I'm not sure the exact stats.
Can you see that?
There you go.
There you go.
She's done 20 different parkruns for the first 20. Now, you know, you're thinking it'd be really difficult for her I know she hasn't done some of the local ones, so she could do those maybe, but it's going to be really difficult. And I just hope that doesn't last too long. But like you say, what we're going to do is there will be the extremists on the social media that will vilify the tourists, and they already do, don't they? But what you're saying, and I do understand it, that parkrun maybe with those comments about discouraging tourism, maybe a little bit add into the debate. But people have got to do what they've got to do, and I'm sure that parkrun would rather they kind of traveled 12 miles or something to go to a parkrun than not do one at all, especially if it's mentally and physically aid your well-being. That's what it's all about. I think we need to focus on that positive nature that parkrun's giving, rather than the kind of extremists on the social media aspect of it, because we are never ever going to keep them quiet.
No, and I think that ultimately people need to be kind in this instance. I mean, I'm guilty. We're all guilty of it, of looking at other people and judging them and saying, okay, what you did is what not I would have done. And we're not all flawless. We're all flawed characters in one way or another. We've all done things we shouldn't have done, or do things, we make excuses. We have our own cognitive dissonances about how we behave. And I just think that I'm hoping that everybody remembers to be kind in these instances now, and come together rather than saying what people did wrong. Talk about what people did right and how we can come together and be positive. I think it's very easy to get angry online, and I'm just thinking, I'm hoping people just come together and go, look, if people do something which you don't think is quite correct in this instance, off of a slight ambiguity about whether or not people are suggested not to go on tour, that we don't get angry about it. And because Emma Shaw says here, can't judge, folk could be visiting parents, etc., so have another parkrun there, it's not their home. A prime example, and I'll say for myself, I've not seen my parents since February, so we're looking, was it August, so that's, well, it's coming up to nearly half a year now. So of course, if I happen to go there at a weekend and I then go and do the parkrun nearby, I would be a tourist by rights, but I'd be there for legitimate purposes. But people could easily then go, right, well, you shouldn't have done that. And I'm thinking that there's so many nuances and that you need context for people's decisions. So it's an interesting one. I'm just trying to look through any comments in case anybody's trying to say some stuff regarding.
So I've done 43 different parkrun events, and according to you, Danny, I'm an Uber tourist. But according to me, the way that I feel is, I think Emma, who's done 20 different ones on her first 20 events, is an Uber tourist. I'm a tourist only when I'm away. I go away, I'll go visit friends, I'll go away with friends mainly, or with family as well. And then I just do the local parkrun. I might even kind of choose a weekend, organise a weekend for me and all my friends, like I did for my birthday this year in February. Went over to Waterworks Parkrun, Belfast. Amazing, absolutely amazing parkrun over there. And the fact is, I was just there for a weekend out with my friends, mainly in the pubs of Belfast, which incidentally are an incredible place to go. And then, really welcomed so well by Waterworks Parkrun as well. It's kind of, I'm not an Uber tourist, although I've done 43 different events. I don't consider myself that.
You are in my eyes. In my eyes, you are. I know you. In my eyes, that you are.
So what I'm saying, I think you're wrong.
No. What I see you as is right. That's what it's definitely right.
Well, you can see me as that.
What works is Matt Shields as well, and Ruth shows, and they're of course lovely. The first event.
Matt Shields and Ruth were there, but also Rosie Ryan, who was on the short story thing as well.
Yes.
And they took me on my birthday, and they took all my friends, and there was I think it was 21 of us all together, but 16 did part. Took us out for breakfast to this kind of amazing place, and and it was absolutely amazing. And they give us a little bit of a tour of like where the troubles are and stuff, and give us a little bit of information about that as well. Absolutely incredible place for a weekend away, if you can get a weekend away in Belfast. And like I say, Matt and Ruth and Rosie there were just amazing people. Really nice. And we had ran to the event, so they actually had to give us lifts to the cafe and everything. They sorted that out amongst the core team. Really friendly. But all these kind of things, these kind of stories are all over parkrun, and it's all just such a positive thing. Yeah.
But they have to wait for the meanwhile. When Rosie, I met at the anniversary for Parkrun 15th anniversary. She was over, lovely. Of course, in the Vitality, the series from the Vitality, lovely lady. I had the pleasure of meeting her too. So apologies if I can't go through all the questions on this. There's a lot of comments coming in. I always go through them afterwards. If I try and pick one out, Anthony Howe, do you think there'll be difficulties in getting volunteers if, for example, regular volunteers are slightly more mature or don't run due to health reasons?
Yeah. I mean, I think it will be, but the fact is it's a challenge, and we've got through a massive challenge as it is so far with this, with the lockdown and all that, and it is really challenging. But there are some guidelines on how to get volunteers. It's something called volunteer tips. If you don't know what it's about or you haven't seen the document, then speak to your ED. They'll in turn speak to their ambassador. And generally, every single event in the UK has got an ambassador, and they will then let you have the volunteer tips on how to recruit volunteers.
Yep.
With there is a kind of
just quickly, John, very quickly. Sorry, Telecraft is saying she'd rather volunteer than run, and have already offered myself to my local event. I think there's going to be quite a few instances of people who are actually going to go down that road and rather volunteer. I'm just seeing some of the.
I'd like to appeal to people with this opportunity now is maybe for the first couple of park runs back, any chance that you would volunteer? I think you might like it more than you realise. If you've never done it before, just try it. You might like it a little bit more than you actually realise. I absolutely love it. I've not done that many park runs for 10 years, but my volunteering, I absolutely love it. But I'm sure there's lots of people out there that haven't tried it yet and don't realise how beneficial it would be. And Absolutely. All the roles are easy to do. They're easily, you get training for it and everything. They're all easy to do. And it would be great to support your event, especially for the first 2 or 3 back.
Absolutely. Now, you said that you don't see yourself as an Uber tourist, but somebody sees you in a very positive light.
That's our social media guru. And she's been listening. I've just been telling. We're going to.
There you go, Eloise. You're going to be busy, aren't you? You'll be doing all sorts of videos. You'll be told to be by proxy. You'll be very busy in the coming weeks. That's what you'll be doing. She's our legend. She works, and she's worked so hard. And I think the social media people in many of the park runs have worked so hard over the lockdown to keep the spirits up when there's no park run. We've been really reliant on Eloise. She's a lovely girl, and she's really good at the role that she takes for us. Absolutely. Some of the other comments are aligning. Me too. Karen Spackman says volunteering is brilliant. I reckon easier to stay safer. I think a lot of people are going to go because they will feel safer volunteering. Emma Shaw says, yay, Sean, selling volunteering.
Thanks, Emma.
Thank you for all the comments coming in, guys. There's loads. I do apologise. It's always really hard for me to track. So if anything else pops up, I'll come over to it. But in the meanwhile, I will let's come over to this little section. Now, you forearmed yourself on this because you watched, and you became well armed, forearmed. You went, are the questions the same as last week? And I'm like, yes, they are. I didn't know and didn't see, and I should have put some sort of curveballs in and done some different ones. But
that's right. So the thing is with quick fire, though, sometimes if you spend too long thinking about them, and you haven't got a clue on you, I think I'll just try.
But so you're going to be able to you'll deliberate over this. If you can't get your very short, then these aren't going to be quick. I don't think I could do it quick either. And I need to come to a couple of other bits and pieces that I've got some notes on the piece of paper I need to come to before we go. Anyway, right, it's far away. Dolly or Bev?
Arbitrary.
Yeah. All right, cool down or warm down?
Cool down, I'm afraid, Danny.
Get off it. Right, we've finished. Goodbye, guys. Thank you very much. It's been great to see you.
So right on that.
Not. Right, milestone apricot.
Apricot.
Okay. Flat or hilly?
Flat. Tarmac.
Have you memorised these? Okay. Out and back or laps?
Laps.
Okay. Yep. Parkrun PB, a #1 token. What would you rather have?
PB.
I'd rather have a PB. Fair enough. Marmite, yes or no?
It's disgusting.
Sacrilegious. Coffee or tea? Either. Tea?
Decaf
tea. Fair enough. Wilson index number. Now I looked this up. Let's see if you know it. I was hoping you wouldn't know. I didn't know, and you've gone and researched it. Okay. Only #1. Fair enough. That would have been one of the inaugurals. I'm assuming that would be. Is that Southwick? Will you have done the inaugural? No, you wouldn't have done.
I think what I've done is I was an ambassador setting up new park runs. I think I've taken a training ambassador along, probably to Street. I think it was Edric Hobbs, and said to Edric, "Oh, you look after the water runs going on. I'm going to run around it." So I ran around on the inaugural.
We've got an angry emoji. Kathy Hood. Why have we got an angry emoji?
What have I done wrong?
What have we done? What have I done? I don't know. What have we done wrong? Kathy, have you hit the emoji by mistake, or what have we done? We must have said something she may not have liked. Okay. Oh dear. Right. Most memorable parkrun moment.
This is the one I can't really answer very well. I ran in a storm once at parkrun. We had a parkrun here at Southwick, and we had some rain, and we didn't realise that the thunder was close. Otherwise, we probably should have cancelled the run. And in retrospect, I think the RDs were in agreement we should have maybe cancelled the run. But we went along with the run, and there was thunder and lightning, and the rain was coming in stair rods. and I was running, and it was so warm as well, but it was like a refreshing rain. So I'm running along with my arms aloft, and we've got an amazing photographer called Martin Pierce. He's a great guy, and he spends loads of time doing bits and pieces for us, and he's a real benefactor of the parkrun as well. But he took a great photograph of me running along in the rain like this, and it got used in the coffee table parkrun book. Do you remember that?
Yes. It just reminded me of something else. Yes.
I went to an ambassador conference and someone asked me to sign a photo.
In the book?
Yeah, in the book.
Nice. Did it increase the value of the book?
That was one of my most memorable parkrun moments, really, in Southwick. But I also went to the 10th anniversary at Bushy Park, which was incredible, where I think it was the biggest parkrun ever, about 1,700 at the time. Yep. But I came about 1,200th. And then I travelled down to Bournemouth. I think you might have done that as well. I travelled down to Bournemouth on the same day. Do the Bournemouth 5K in the evening. It was
I saw you in the start line. Yes.
Yes, we saw each other at the start line, didn't we? So that was a big day. That's quite memorable for me, really. Being, I've only been to Bushy that once.
Yeah. And I forgot. I will admit I forgot that I met you that time, because when I did come to Southwick Country Park in 2017, November 2017, it would have been like a month later, I think it was, in around this time.
That's right.
10th anniversary 2014, 3 years later. Yeah, I mean, all the time is becoming one big blur. And I came to visit you, and then of course I had pictures, the 500 T-shirt, and that photograph. Then is it on
Melksham.
the whiteboards? Where is that?
Melksham. I was the ambassador set at Melksham as well. So I've kind of, as the when I was a kind of a event support ambassador, I set up kind of a lot of the local partners in this area. So
yeah, lovely Melksham, absolutely. I remember it very muddy, very slippy that day. I didn't wear trousers.
Yeah.
So before we go, because of course it's 27 minutes, normally 25, but I thought, thank you. It's a fascinating conversation. I mean, the framework thing, it could be a conversation that we could talk about for hours and hours and hours. I wanted to mention the Running Man statue.
Okay.
It's very famous for. So people may not be aware about it. Would you like to tell us about what it represents?
Yeah, so it's incredible. When we were setting up our parkrun, so we were the 89th parkrun in the UK, I think probably worldwide, actually, 89th parkrun worldwide. And we set up in September 2011. Just as we were getting it all together, kind of, I started having the idea in the May, and I was going to Swindon Parkrun, but there's this kind of article in the local newspaper saying there's this guy that's got this Running Man statue, and I knew about this Running Man because he kind of wheels it out every day at his stonemason's business and puts it on the side of the road, and he wants somewhere permanent to put it. And we were just kind of setting up a parkrun, and I thought, oh my word, this guy's got this Running Man statue, and we're setting up a parkrun at the same time. So, to cut a long story short, I spoke to all the relevant people, and they gave us planning permission to put the statue in the park. And this guy, Noel Morgan, was the nicest guy on the planet. I tell you, he's absolutely great guy. And he came to the unveiling of the statue, and he's no longer with us, unfortunately. But he came to the unveiling of the statue on that first parkrun, and that was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. And, everyone's kind of idolizes that statue and have their photograph taken with it every time they come along. It's the spirit of the parkrunner statue. He called it Forest, but we call it the spirit of the parkrunner. So it's a little bit weird though, because it's got the TikTok position, where the arms and the legs are all in the wrong way round. But
right, I didn't know that. I've been to it and I've seen it, and I've had the pleasure of being in its vicinity.
We've got this amazing guy called Simon Evans that gives it a coat of paint once a year and things like that, just to keep it maintained and stuff like that. So we look after it, and it's got a little plaque up saying what it's all about and things like that. So it's good. And we've actually then, when the 2012 Olympics came along, we've got a torch put in.
Yes, you did.
We only put in on the day that we're doing the parkrun. So that torch isn't there all the time. The statue's there all the time permanently, but the torch just goes in whilst we're running the parkrun.
Okay. Before I ask you the last thing,
I did want to tell you.
Well, don't worry. I've asked. It's the children thing. Have you got one more thing? We can go on. I think people are enjoying this. But before we go, you're not liked anymore, I'm afraid, Jules. See, I was surprised. Jules, I thought Jules may do the angry emoji, but good. I'm going to contact her after this. Why are you angry, Kathy? I don't know. Have we said something we don't realise? Anyway, but Jules Pearson, she's very unhappy with you.
She's one of the ambassadors that I support. Also your friends Vicky and Stuart.
Yes.
They
Need to the Coopers.
I support them, the Hendersons.
Yeah, the Hendersons.
And the Hobbses as well, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact that there's this vicinity that here I am in Southwest London. There you are over in Trowbridge Way, over the other side of the country. We haven't seen or spoken to each other for months. Well, sorry, we've spoken to each other, I should say, but we haven't been in the vicinity of each other for years and months and stuff. But we have such a feeling of connectivity with everybody, that Jules and everyone else. I love the multiplex network of people throughout the UK. It's amazing. It is. I love it. And you are one of the people that are integral to it. So
we all are, Danny. You are as well. We all are. I think everyone plays their part, from the person that just runs once a year to Tom Williams. I think everyone and Nick Pearson as well. I think we all play an integral part, and that is what is so beautiful about the whole parkrun community.
Absolutely. Nick Pearson had his 50th birthday on August the 5th.
Yeah, that's right.
My parents' anniversary. Somebody very, very important 60th birthday is coming up very soon.
Is that right?
Very ultimately important. Yeah, is 60 in the coming days. So yeah, not very long, not very far away. I remember his 50th, and I remember him getting a special T-shirt. Anyway, before we go, now you've been listening to the pod, and you said that you heard about having top 3, and I said, well, imagine if you had her parent who had 4 children. How would they be able to give a top 3? Can you?
Well, the thing is, I've got 4 children, and I agree. It's like having a favourite parkrun. It is absolutely impossible to say. But saying that,
here we go.
Each one of them has their own quality. So my eldest is, a proper businessman, and then. But if you wanted some self-defense, he's not the guy I go to. I go to my son, that's a PTI instructor in the army. I think there's a picture of him there somewhere. So and then my daughter, she's pregnant at the moment, and she's going to make the most amazing parent. And my youngest son, Cameron, has just turned his life around in the last couple of years, and done amazing things that no one could imagine, least of all himself. So they've all got their attributes, and that's exactly the same with parkrun. There's flat ones, there's hilly ones. They've all got their own attributes, and this is what I wanted to say: is I've got favourites for hilliness, for difficultness, for fast. If you want a fast one, you go to Exmouth. If you want a really, really tough one, you go to Woolacombe Sands. And but obviously, home parkrun also has a massive thing as well for me at Southwick. That has a massive affinity, and all those that I've helped set up, like Salisbury, Melksham, and the local ones, Street.
Sean, in a very roundabout way, are you agreeing with me over Nicola, and you're simply saying that you shouldn't have a top 3 parkrun? Is that the crux of it? That Nicola's wrong and I'm correct in this instance?
If one of the quick fire questions was Nick or Danny, I'd go for Nick. But on this one, Danny, you're right. So I wanted to give you a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, thanks very much. And there you go. Look, too many people are agreeing with you for my liking. Right, I wish all much of band, says John Japp. Away with the lot of you. Away with you. I
can better compliment you too much, Danny. Just like me.
Yeah. Cheeky monkeys. Right. Thank you very much indeed, guys. I think we've covered everything. Is there anything you'd like to briefly say before we get everybody?
There is one thing. I've got a couple of ambassadors I didn't mention, Kirsty and Kathy, and the ambassadors in the Southwest are all pretty maxed out with events. Jazz runs a tight ship, and she doesn't want everyone to have more than 6, and that's a really good idea. We don't want to put too much workload on those ambassadors. But in the Southwest, we do need more ambassadors, and we're looking for more ambassadors at the moment. The ambassador recruitment program is not fully functional at the moment, but you can make inquiries with your event director, speak to your local ambassador, who will speak to the REAs. There's 3 of us, Matt, Mark, and myself, that look after the Southwest region. So if anyone has got at least 6 months run director experience and thinks that they would love to be an ambassador, and it's an amazing role, setting up new communities is just one of the most amazing things you're able to do. If you've set up your own parkrun, you know what it's like, then you can step up, be an ambassador, and do that. I just like to plug that kind of thing every now and again, because we are in desperate need down here. Most of the ambassadors have worked to the max with their 6 events. People like Stuart and Vicky and the Hobbses as well. They're all maxed out. So we need some more ambassadors. If there's anyone out there, get in contact.
You can never have enough hands. I mean, that's the thing. As I've discovered with all the With Me Now stuff, I feel like I need 8 arms, only like 4 pairs of arms all at once, trying to do everything. Always open to people willing to come and help out with certain technical skills. We're always there, and hopefully giving platforms to people. So of course, we've got something coming up, lined up during next week. We're going to be doing something with somebody with a particular interest and see if that works. It's to do with Parkrunpedia, but I won't spoil too much. Anyway, right then, I think I may have said this on the pod, I can't remember. Right, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for the love and your time watching. Hello to everybody that's saying hello to us too. Thank you, Sean, for your time. I've much enjoyed it. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Val, a couple of weeks ago when you came on and spoke to my volunteer team. That was really nice of you. Thanks very much. Great job. You and Nick are doing a great job with me now, and we really appreciate it. And I'd just like to say, on behalf of all your listeners, that we really do appreciate it, and it's helped enormously through the lockdown and going on further as well. You've done a great job, mate.
Yeah, thank you. It's the best decision I did was to try and do what we did and make sure we kept on going, and much appreciated. And big love to your volunteer team too. I really enjoyed that chat as well. So compliments right back at you. Right then, take care everybody. And here we have our StreamYard face, no longer a Zoom goodbye face. We're going to hit end broadcast. Take care, guys. Speak to you soon.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you for watching.